Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's safe to say I've been blown away by this game, and now we've got the official details for Season StarFall, which I'm going to be going over in this video, and there is a lot of it, plus a whole 2025 roadmap. And while they do have support for controller as well as mobile coming, they still haven't quite settled on a date for it yet. But it really seems like they want to put together a really polished, finished, great experience for everybody before its full release for those. But I wanted to go over all of the information that they announced in the Season StarFall that is going to be coming in just a couple more days here. A huge shout out to deltaforce sponsoring me, not only participating in a $40,000 community tournament where players got to compete, qualify, and make it to the finals that I got to play and participate in just as a... I mean, they knew I would have... If I would have competed and tried to qualify, I would have made it into the competition anyways, but they just gave me an invite-only spot, as well as, of course, breaking down this update, which I went through and watched an entire 2-hour live stream where the developers were talking. Granted, there is a bit of a language barrier, so it was hard to understand everything, but I put together the information that I gathered from it all for you guys here, and I mean, we saw a bit with their first season. I was shocked at how much stuff was actually in this. They're adding a new operator, Alexi, in this one, who will be an engineer operator with razor wire that can be put on the ground. We've seen the shock trap from the other engineer, which deals about 40 damage, stuns them, and the stun is actually quite good. This will last, you know, I mean, razor wire on the ground. You're not going to want to walk through that, but you might be pulled through it because he also has a grappling hook. They showed a couple clips of him shooting this through the smoke, grabbing on somebody, pulling him through the razor wire, and on top of that, he has a shield, which, when is not out in front, will actually be on the back, protecting your back from back shots. He definitely seems powerful. A lot of people are worried about this. I kind of want to see how it plays out. I've dealt with riot shields in many games and had enough solutions and ways to counterplay them, especially with how good some of these other operators are. I don't know. Maybe it'll be insane. We'll find out. On top of that, they're adding 3 new weapons to the game: submachine gun, assault rifle, and light machine gun. I still honestly haven't even played through all the weapons that are already in the game. The fact they're adding 3 more already is kind of insane, but plenty of new content, and they're adding even more every new season. They're just making overall more improvements. Of course, cheating is one of the things they mentioned right at the top. They have a huge focus on this, banning as many people as they can, as well as working on more systems to catch and remove cheaters. They also put a lot of emphasis on improving their netcode, which this game already has extremely fast time to kill depending on some of the combinations for it. So the better hit reg, the better. And so far, it's already felt quite good to me. First thing they went over was the new map, Knife's Edge, which is an infantry-only map. They have one other that's in it right now, and it's one of my favorites to play. This is actually located at the top of dam, and it took me a second to even realize where this was, but the dam has cracked and completely flooded the lower map that we've been playing countless hours on within the operations mode. Pushing admin, you can see cement, substation, all just flooded. The map is destroyed, and this is Knife's Edge just at the top of the dam that you're fighting on. Close quarters, tight lanes, you can get into the interior of the dam as well. It looks sick. But they also have some vehicle love with a train wreck map that's being added. That's going to have, of course, huge infantry gameplay as well as vehicles, much more open. And the map, they do a full pan-out zoom of the entire thing at the end of their showcase for it. It's just massive. And the way that these modes are set up, it's like an attack-defend for most of them, although they are adding a limited-time mode of capture the flag. As you fight and capture points, you push to the next segment of the map, and it goes on for... These maps are massive. The fact that they're already dropping 2 new ones off the first season, the second season, I mean, we're already in on this. The first one, you know, came out with the game. That also introduced new maps from what we had seen prior to the beta is just crazy to me. They also mentioned destruction improvements and showed some insane, massive destruction.
Yeah,
more
I
destruction
think
and better.
Think about these types of games, you get to see moments like this, right? Where you watch the massive building fall down. This is so cool.
I've never even seen this.
其实还是挺震撼的。
Yeah, that looks pretty awesome.
Dude, we need some of that in the in operations.
It really brings you in and it immerses you into the game, and it's fun to see.
They
even
do
the
have a
new
lot of
unique
destruction
places
in
that
this
can
mode,
open
yeah.
up like this.
This is insane, though. They are adding an entire fortification system to the game, meaning that if a wall gets knocked down, you can run up and build cover for yourself, which is helpful whether you're attacking, trying to make it to the next point, build cover so your team can push up, or you're defending, trying to keep the fortifications up from what they're trying to knock down and move up on. And as for the vehicle optimization that they've done, in the past, if you would drive up to a barrier or a rock, the vehicle would just stop. Now this has been made so you will kind of bounce off of it to keep your momentum that you already have, so it's going to feel much better as you're driving the vehicles. In addition, if you're driving into destructible terrain, that will now break more easily. And they showed a couple side-by-sides first showing it driving over and running into objects and having some trouble with it, and then re-showing all of the different vehicles, the tanks, jeeps, easily continuing on with it. So it should be much more fluid to play, in addition to being able to customize your vehicles while you're inside of the Warfare big multiplayer respawn mode that they have too. With the rate they're going, I wouldn't be surprised if you can customize weapons inside of that as well soon. But they're also making movement tech changes. Dolphin diving is in the game, and this isn't limited to just like D-Wolf is the only operator in the game who can slide and, you know, use that mechanic to slide, jump, and everything. This is for all operators will be able to dive. So you're running, you can dive off of a second story, dive to cover, dive to push somebody. Drop shotting in this game is not quite crazy because when you go down, it changes you to hip fire. So you don't really want to do it from far away, but it is effective close range. Jump shotting is a thing in the game as well, but there's quite a bit of bounce to it. So we'll see if this makes it into the flow. For the most part, close range, you know, you do want to be moving, but longer range, you got to be accurate. You got to be able to control your fire. Maybe you'll be able to dive into cover and avoid getting shot. But they're also adding 2 new class gadgets to the game. A grenade launcher for smoke. That will be for the support operators. I assume this would be pretty helpful for Toxic, who has 1 pocket smoke, but this is a grenade launcher one, so it can be shot much further away, as well as an explosive grenade launcher being added for the assault operators, which are already quite explosive in the first place. The capture the flag mode that they're also going to have is going to have 3 different maps to play. It will feature less players, which I was kind of concerned with at the beginning, because 32v32 capture the flag is insane, and you will be able to ride in vehicles with it. You have a giant flag on your back as you're actually being driven or even just running around. It looks yeah, I don't know. It could be good. Now, let's get into all of the information that they gave us on the operations update coming in Season 2. Something I'm happy to see is the seasonal missions have been further optimized, meaning that it's going to be even easier to acquire that legendary 3x3 safe box. I got a couple of the one-time uses out of it, and these are so good to have. They have a completely new area on Zero Dam that literally blew my mind. You know, they talk about like map changes and tweaks to games that I play. Bro, this wasn't even just a POI change. This completely alters the way the map is played. There is a giant underground area that literally connects all the 3 major POIs of the substation, admin, the main building, as well as over at Cement, that is expansive. Hopefully there's going to be spawns down there. I'm sure there's going to be good loot. Maybe they even add some new keycard areas, but it's going to allow for different routes in and out, which a lot of this map is very linear in its design, where you can only go certain paths to even make it in and out of the buildings. Once you're in admin, there's very complex fights and there's some good combat that can engage with, but a lot of the exterior, you don't have too many options. So this is going to open up, I would imagine, massively. We'll see though, because it's all underground. It's all going to be very tight corridors. And they've also made some changes to Space City. The industries area, they've added additional paths into the main hub. Essentially, they saw a lot of combat, not only on Zero Dam, but on Space City, happening before they made it to some of the major areas, just right off a spawn, a lot of quick instant combat. Hopefully, this will let people actually make their way to the main area and have some more combat. I feel like there needs to be more of an exfil point, more options there. The rewards, I don't know if they're worth it, although there is some stuff, quests and things that I am going to have to go to Space City to. I haven't been there that much yet. In addition, on Space City, there is a cinematic that can occur at the beginning of the raid. And if it does, it will blow out an entire bridge, destroying it, leaving extra high-tier enemies that you're going to have to contest for some extra high-tier loot off of it. And because it's down low, you'll have to climb out of it. The way that they describe this, it sounds epic. They're also doing another mode called 3v3v3. I don't know if there was actually a specific name for it, but this is a obviously even smaller mode that will also be here for a limited time. That's quite differentiated from something like, you know, that giant scale war, and also quite different than operations, because you're not going in and risking your operations loot. You don't need to go in with your red armor that you somehow found and risk it in this small map. You get free gadgets, it doesn't affect your assets, and it's random gear. You can select from a couple different loadouts. There's 5 different maps, and these take place on high-tier operations, on those operation maps, in the labs, in the craziest PvP areas where you would want to get practice and be in these, like, fully kitted out, crazy fights. It almost makes me think of, like, a Battle Royale endgame, a mode that I've always wanted to see in any Battle Royale that just throws you into an endgame scenario, literally brought to life. And it's not just killing each other. You do have a mantle brick that you need to extract, essentially running to an object. You pull it, put it into a point, and then defend it. I'm sure if everybody's dead on the map, it's just going to end, but at least there's an extra objective that's going on for you, so it's not just a stalemate of people sitting in corners. And actually, what I think would be the coolest thing from this is if they made it so there was wager matches associated with this. I haven't seen this for 15 years in any of the games that I play, but imagine you could go in and even wager a 10,000 pool, and you could wager even like 100,000 alloy into this match with all the other players, winner take all at the end. I think that would be so sick. But nonetheless, maybe I'm getting crazy. I don't know. I do think this is going to be a really fun, cool mode. It's going to give you a lot of experience in some of the high tier areas. And it's just here for a limited time, so we'll see how they do it. I love that they're just testing and throwing these modes out there for us to experience, though. Hopefully you're already familiar with the mantle bricks and how they work in the game, but they're adding something new to the game called Turbricks. These you can buy for 10k alloy, which is the currency you get from, you know, playing, exfilling, selling things. Apparently these will be part of the battle pass as well. They'll give you a bunch of them, but these will give you charms for your weapon. They showed off a couple pretty cool ones, and I imagine they have a lot more that they will add, but those you can get by playing the game. They're also adding new bundles to the game. One of those being a brand new butterfly knife, which they show a little clip of on here that looks insane. But there's quite a few new ones that they're adding. Not only they're going to have part of Battle Pass, which will be included with what you get there. Of course, you could even exfil some mantle bricks to get some currency to buy from the shop, or of course, just get it on your own. These being purely cosmetic and super cool. The new operator also you can get for playing for free, although of course they will have another new battle pass, and with them having 4 seasons over this entire year, that's going to probably pace out pretty well, giving us time to progress. Then once you complete the battle pass, even level up into infinity with it. At the end of season, they are removing the XP cap for the battle passes. Every week they have a limit. They try and limit how much people are grinding and playing the game. Well, that's out the window for the ending week of it. Once you finish the cosmetic aspect of the battle pass at level 80, you can then continue to unlock items going up to level 150. And then after 150, it still goes on into infinity, letting you get more rewards while you play through, which I really appreciate. And then anybody who's been waiting to see the Black Hawk Down campaign, of course, these guys made the original Delta Force. I never got to experience it, was so long ago, but this is a classic reboot of the movie and the game. Better yet, it's going to be a cooperative experience. They went through and showcased all 7 chapters of the campaign, and they were even saying, like, you know, it's not going to be perfect, which I think they're trying to temper some expectations for, saying rather than a shooting gallery type game, it's going to be a faithful recreation of the movie and the game, which honestly, I think a lot of people will actually be even more excited for and would prefer, but we'll see how it is. It's going to be a 30 gigabyte download that's going to be separate from the game. You can get it from the launcher or directly in the game. And then they outlined the entire 2025 roadmap, which I mentioned is going to have 4 seasons on it. They mentioned player mobility expansions, and of course, new maps, operations maps, warfare maps, weapons, all the things that you kind of would expect. But what stood out to me was in not season 2, but season 3, the next one, they're going to add night versions of the map, which makes me think night vision. I feel like, especially for extraction, this would be insane. 2 more things that I thought were insane was, one, they had mentioned just briefly that there's a theater mode that apparently is already working really well for them, but it's not quite where they want it to be yet. I would love to even see kill cams more simply, but a theater mode to be able to even rewatch a match would be insane. As well as easy mode, they announced is going to have a limit. So when you're first starting the game, you can only play on the easy map, which doesn't have the craziest loot. The AI is not quite as hard, but players could still go in with fully kitted, crazy loadouts. Not anymore. It's going to be capped at a tier 4 vest or purple armor with tier 3 ammo, blue ammo, meaning that the time to kills on that map will be higher. It's going to take you longer to kill somebody if they are in purple armor. For example, if you're playing in the normal raid where you can go all the way up, you're going to have people using gold ammo against gold armor, which will penetrate and still give you insanely fast time to kills. In fact, there's even red bullets for the red armor, although both of those are extremely rare, basically still keeping time to kill it like you don't even have armor on. This will, in easy at least, if you go in with the purple, give you the ability to tank at least a couple of shots, give you a slightly longer time to kill, and I think will still give some of the experience of getting a huge come up off of purple gear if you do successfully take out a kitted player, while also not going up against unkillable targets that are in full gold or even red that are just wiping the lobby with you. But we'll see how it is once they actually implement it. I had no idea what to expect with the new season, and we'll see what else they've got cooking up for us off of it. Let me know what you guys think. Have you been playing it? Have you been watching any of my streams of it or content on it? Or are you excited for it for console? I know a lot of people are. If you want to check the game out or anything else about it, check out the top link in the description down below. Again, a huge thank you to deltaforce for sponsoring me doing an update video on this. I can't wait to go play it. I'm going to be playing this for sure on launch day as well. But that's for this one. Thanks so much for watching. StoneMountain64, over and out.